Are you tired of having scrawny arms? Are you tired of being able to park with ease? All you have to do is just get a vehicle with no power steering. Like this Heat. She's a beaut. Now, if you got the RPMs up, she turns like a champ. Otherwise, this is like wrestling a cookie out of a 4-year-old's hand. Ain't easy. Try to park this beast, guarantee you're gonna end up on Instagram as one of those idiots who hits every car trying to park. So, time for a power steering pump. It's a 2005 limited Toyota 4Runner with a 4.7 liter V8, and we're gonna do a power steering pump today. If y'all wanna see how this is done, stick around. Cause we were out, you know, taking her for a little cruise. Nothing crazy. And the power steering pump went out. All right, as you can see here, we got a 4.7 liter V8 on this Toyota. Your power steering pump's down here. But first thing I think I'm gonna do is run a flush through this thing, just see if that helps improve it. Mainly to do this, I'm gonna jack it up so I can get both front wheels off the ground. Don't mind my nasty blanket here. So this is your power steering reservoir. You got two lines that come out of this thing. This is your out feed, this is your in feed. You're gonna leave this one on, take this one off. Be mindful when you take this thing off and the fluid is above this line, the fluid is gonna start leaking out. Have a pan down there, have something down there, or do what you do to catch spills. You're gonna pull this line off. I'm gonna use a little water bottle to catch the fluid. So I'm gonna put that down here. I'm gonna put this line in the water bottle. I'm gonna have a funnel on top of here and be pouring fluid into this with my thumb over this. Now it takes a little coordination, and then you can have somebody turn the wheel. Do not have the engine running unless you really want some excitement in your life. I would not recommend that. You don't need the engine running. Just the turning of the wheels is going to pump that fluid out of there, so you don't need the engine running. Okay, so this is what I got going on here. I got a hose going into a bottle. This is where the hose came off of. Got a funnel on top, got my fluid ready. Once my assistant inside starts turning, the fluid is gonna start pumping into this bottle. Like I said, make sure your finger is over this, otherwise every bit of fluid that you put in here is gonna drip out. So I'm gonna put my finger over this and I'm gonna keep adding fluid as this bottle fills up, all right? All right, assistant, please turn. All right, you can see the fluid pumping into the bottle here. All right, bottle's getting full. All right, so this is the fluid that came out. Like I said, it doesn't look bad. These Toyotas, they run, and the reason it's red, they run an automatic transmission fluid, a Dextron 2 or 3. So that's why it's red, not like your regular power steering fluid, which would be like a clear color. But that is how you do a flush on one of these vehicles. That is pretty much how you're gonna do a flush on most vehicles. Fortunately, this one's pretty accessible. But I'm gonna let the jack down, take it for a quick spin. Maybe that's all it needed. Well, as I suspected, nothing magical happened. So we're gonna have to do a power steering pump on this puppy. If y'all wanna see that, stick around. So we did a flush, which you guys saw. Either way, we're gonna do a pump. I found a guy who's got a used pump and I bought it for 20 bucks. So only the best for old Betsy here, for old 4Runner. Where we're gonna start, we're gonna take this cover off, we're gonna take this intake off. So unbolt this, we're gonna unbolt this, and probably there's a radiator hose down here. I think we're gonna take that off just to clear some room, okay? Those are simple things to move. It's a bunch of 10mm stuff. This is where you guys wanna start. We're gonna take this stuff off, and I think that'll give us enough room to breathe here to get these bolts off. All right, dudes, coolant reservoir's off, radiator hose is separated here. I was gonna take it off on the bottom, but it's just a pain in the neck, so forget all that. Next, I'm gonna take the serpentine belt off and these vacuum lines here, And then we'll take these high pressure and low pressure side lines off this pump. And then I believe there's 3 bolts that hold it onto the block there. And then we'll see if our $20 pump is actually gonna work. Just so you know, handy dandy, right next to the power steering pump is your tensioner pulley. This is a 14 millimeter. Just take your belt off, shoot, right there and handy. Nice. All right, belt's loose, because you're gonna need to have that belt loose to spin this to get the appropriate holes lined up with your bolts. So I think I'm gonna take this high pressure line off now, and then I can pull it up. Maybe I'll just take the low pressure off right here. That might be easiest. Get off here, take the high pressure line off. Quick tip, because I wasn't aware of this, but I am now, because it was a hassle. Down here, this high pressure line, all I did was loosen the top of this thing, and it came off real hard, and then finally it fell out of the pump. Underneath, this threads in and sandwiches this piece right here, okay? So it'll go through here like this. You're gonna have to get this apart to put this back together, because you're not gonna be able to thread as it's together through this thing, sandwiched together, down into that pump without cross-threading it, or at least knowing you're not cross-threading it. So a bit of a challenge to get this off once you have it off the pump. This is a, what was this, a 24 millimeter? This was a 24, this was a 17. So you're gonna wanna get yourself a 24 millimeter wrench, hold on the bottom while it's still on the pump, and a 17 on top. Hit it with your impact. It should buzz right off then. Got the high pressure side off. Got this low pressure line from the reservoir off of here. And then, so now there's 3 bolts. Show you over here on this replacement one. You can see where these 3 bolts are. So you'll have to spin this thing, the pulley, just right. You have 3 bolts right here. They're all 14 millimeter. Looks like you just need a little extension, you know, short extension. And that should do it. Okay, so you've got one here, and then one on the bottom. So it goes top, side, bottom. This top one is a stud, not a bolt. And it looks like, just slide this puppy off here, if we have enough clearance to do so. Yeah, AC line makes it a little snug. You know what we could do? I wonder if I pull this bracket off right here, if I could get these lines to flex a little bit. What? All right. So what you gotta do is just stop and like think for a second, which I struggle to do sometimes. Okay. Okay. Why does this just keep coming off? All right. Oh, yes. Don't lose your beautiful brass ring. Miss Power Steering Pump will not be happy if you lose the ring. We're threading our high pressure line back on right now. All right, so tighten your high pressure line back down. Like I said, don't forget those two copper rings. There's one on the bottom, one on the top. Don't forget those, or the brass. Those brass washers is what I'm talking about. Okay, so now that we got our high pressure line back on, we threw our ratchet on the floor. We are going to put the mounting bolts back on this sucker. You got a nut on top, 2 bolts on the side, and then we'll put our low pressure line on right now. I mean, mechanic. We're gonna put the belt on next, and then just go through the reverse process of what you guys did to get this thing off of here. Back together, she ain't whining. So, you know, that's why we test drive things the way we do, because you find weak points. You don't want to give somebody a bad vehicle. Like as soon as they drive away, it breaks. You're just gonna feel bad. So you need to go out, put her through her paces. Make sure she's good before you let her run down the road. And we found the weak point, this power steering pump. So, hey, junkyard $20 part. Hopefully we don't break that one. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much gonna do it for the power steering situation of this vehicle. Thanks for watching and putting up with me. And subscribe, guys, if you want to stick around, or if you want to
subscribe, guys, if you want to see more videos.